And do you think this is why the United States has been growing and the business cycle appears to have become somewhat elongated?
No, I don't. I think it's partly why we're growing, but not why the business cycle appears to have become elongated. I don't really believe that. I never really believed in a business cycle as something that's inherent and regularly like the yearly cycle. I think what you have is a world or an economy which is continuously being hit by shocks, things that come along that disturb it. And the whole problem is how you adapt to shocks. Now, for most, there has been a big change in that respect. Up until about 1982 or 3, around that, the economy was unstable. Price level was going up and going down, going up and down. You had an unstable economy. That was what gave the myth of the business cycle. Now, since 1983 or 4 or so, we seem to have a very stable world. If you plot such a thing as a price level, before 1984 it goes like that, and then after 84 it goes like almost a straight line. There's still some fluctuations, but much less. And I think the answer is that the Federal Reserve has stopped messing things up.
Thank you.
For the first 70 years or so of its existence, the Federal Reserve, in my opinion, that's why I said what I said earlier, the Federal Reserve, in my opinion, did vastly more harm than good. I do not believe we would have had the Great Depression if the Federal Reserve had never been established. But since the 80s, since Volcker and Greenspan, with the backing of Reagan, ended inflation and adopted the policy that their primary goal was to maintain stable prices. And since not only the United States, but other countries in the world did the same thing. You had in New Zealand, which had the same bad pattern before, about 1985 or so. And it established a central bank contract in which the governor of the central bank would be fired if inflation got above 2% a year.
That was really putting it on the line.
Don Brash,
that's right,
who was a governor of the central bank, really put himself on the line. And lo and behold, he was able to do it. And he then started what became known as inflation targeting. Other central banks around the world did the same. Australia, Great Britain, and essentially the European Central Bank. And lo and behold, all of them could do it. So I think that what has happened, the explanation for what you're describing as a lengthened out business cycle, the explanation for that is the conversion of the central banks of the world to the belief that their fundamental task was price stability.
And as a result, we've had a convergence of lower rates of inflation and lower interest rates around the
Right.
At the same time that we have new cooperators, which some people would refer to as new competitors, coming into the system. So we have, as you mentioned earlier, a huge population mass, 1.3 billion Chinese, maybe 700 million plus that are of working age. We have the Indians, and we have then little countries like Estonia and others now eager to compete and eager to be free to choose as people. Should Americans be worried about this?
Quite the opposite. We should applaud it. We should try to make it more rapidly. Again, it gives us an opportunity to make more use of our own special advantages.
And
we have nothing to be afraid of from cooperating with the great mass of the world's population, but everything to gain from it.